Sagittarius, welcome to your astrology reading for the month of September. So before I jump into it, this is most applicable for your rising sign. It's also applicable for your sun sign and your moon sign. And so your rising sign, if you're not sure, there's lots of free software out there. You can run your birth chart. It's the Zodiac sign of your first house or your ascendant. It's all the same thing. It's how other people perceive you, especially when they first meet you. Then your sun sign is how you express yourself. And then your moon sign is how you process everything internally through that emotional lens. And so really, to understand how the entire month is going to play out, it's best to kind of understand all three different components. Normally, I would jump into a little bit about the energy of the month. We have another retrograde happening here, so it's going to happen right away on September 1st. We have a lot of transformation taking place this month, so kind of get comfortable with being uncomfortable, I would say, is the theme of September. And it starts off right away. So on September 1st at 11:18 in the morning Eastern time, we have Uranus. So Uranus is one of those planets of transformation. It's actually going to station retrograde in the sign of Taurus. And so Uranus is that sudden change, but because it's a retrograde, it's now internal. So there's some sort of internal change that's going to take place. It's in the sign of Taurus. And so what's happening here is Taurus is very grounded and practical and wants things kind of just based in reality. So if there's any kind of obstacles or barriers that are preventing you from being able to move forward, preventing you from really kind of keeping something grounded here, that's what's being removed. So it's not a negative at all. And these would be internal changes that are taking place. So think of any kind of internal barriers or any kind of limitations or restrictions you might have put on yourself. For you, Taurus is in your 6th house of daily life. And so this would impact, across the board, your normal everyday life. Not those one-off scenarios, but really kind of what your regular routine is here. And so when Uranus stations retrograde, it will trine Venus in Libra. And so Venus in Libra for you is sitting in your 11th house of community, but it's your friends. You think about it, it's like your entire friend circle. It's not the individual relationships, it's kind of all of them holistically. And so whatever changes are taking place in your daily life, it's easily going to blend with what you value in those friendships, what kind of balance is already there in those friendships. And so this one's actually a really positive transit. We also have Uranus retrograde trine Pluto retrograde. So these are the two planets of transformation having a really easy conversation with each other. And so these changes that are taking place in your daily life, again, it's a retrograde, so these are going to be internal changes. But so is Pluto. Pluto is also retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. And so this is sudden internal changes in your daily life, easily blend with whatever changes are happening in your communication here. That's where Aquarius is, and it sits in your 3rd house of communication. It's short distance travel too, could be siblings that are impacted here, but really an easy blend of this energy. So it's a lot of internal change, some of it sudden with that Uranus energy. Then we have Uranus retrograde, sextile Neptune retrograde, because we have a lot of planets that are retrograde right now. And so these internal changes that are taking place, this kind of almost like a sudden realization of what's happening in your daily life, what's changing here, what's transforming, easily, maybe not easily, because it's going to create an opportunity here. So think about your ideal home life. Maybe it's an actual physical home and you want to move and there's some sort of structure here. What this feels like is that you're making some changes in your daily life that are going to have some sort of positive impact on the type of home that you want, the home life that you want. It's creating some sort of opportunity that you need to take advantage of. This does require some sort of action on your part, but really, really positive energy here because the opportunity is right there in front of you. We also have Uranus square the moon in Leo. And so these changes that are happening in your daily life, it's creating some sort of obstacle or challenge around how you feel about growth. Leo rules your 9th house and the moon is in your 9th house. The moon transit signs every couple of days. So this energy is not going to be around for very long, but there's something about the way that you feel about this growth that it just doesn't align with these changes that are happening in your daily life. There is some sort of obstacle or challenge to maybe wanting more growth. We're actually going to see that as kind of a theme throughout the month, where the focus right now is kind of settling this transformation that's taking place. There's a lot of transformative energy. We also have Uranus retrograde square Mercury in Leo. And so these changes in your daily life, it's creating some sort of obstacle or challenge to not even just how you feel about that growth and expansion that you want for yourself. Could be long distance travel, things like that. Anything that you would do to kind of better your experience, make you a more rounded person. It's creating some sort of obstacle or challenge. And the other planet that is sitting in the 9th house right now is Mercury. And so this would have an impact on your communication. It might make it more difficult for you to express the type of growth that you want, or maybe understand what you need to do in order to grow. So that is Uranus stationing retrograde. But really what's significant about this Uranus station retrograde is that it's not alone this day. So Uranus and Pluto are the two planets of transformation. Pluto is already retrograde, but on the same day, it re-enters the sign of Capricorn. And so this is going to happen at 8:08 p.m. Eastern time. So less than 12 hours later, we've got this major change that's taking place with Pluto. And so right now, Pluto is in Aquarius. Again, for you, Aquarius is your 3rd house. When it goes into Capricorn, it's now going into your 2nd house. But I think the really significant piece here is that we've actually been in Pluto and Capricorn. We've been dealing with this for a very long time. It moved out of Capricorn into Aquarius earlier this year, and then it went back into Capricorn. So it's a lot of kind of going back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius this year. And so what we're experiencing right now is the last time that we will experience Pluto and Capricorn in our lifetime. It's going to take roughly 250 years in order for it to circle back around. None of us are going to be around for that. So kind of recognize it for what it is. There's a lot of transformation. That is what Pluto is. It's death and rebirth. But it's about closing out some sort of chapter here. And the chapter is going to be related to structures that have been in place. Capricorn likes structure. Now, sometimes it can overstructure a situation where it's created such a narrow window for you to be able to move forward, because Capricorn likes strategy. It likes some sort of game plan. Let's go after this. Let's do this. Here's how we get there. If you start encountering obstacles along the way, it's almost like trying to box everything in, and it can get to a point where it becomes really restrictive. And so when Pluto moved into Aquarius, it was a liberating energy. It was, let's rebel against all these structures. Let's free you of some of this energy. But because now we've had this experience of Pluto and Aquarius, it's almost like we're taking that experience, bringing it back into the Capricorn house. And we're saying, okay, let's take one last look at these structures. What needs to stay? What needs to go? Because that's what it's all about here. And so for you, this is going to impact your personal finances. This would be the money you already have. It's not the money that you're currently earning, because that would be coming in from an outside source. This is what you already have. So think of your bank account, your investments, if you have them, any kind of assets you would have, like art collection, things like anything that has value would be sitting in this house. And so what structures are in place around your house? And then what changes do you need to make here? So think of like your relationship with money. That might be something that's changing here. So when Pluto re-enters Capricorn, it's actually going to trine Venus and Libra. And so whatever changes you're making to your financial structures, it's easily going to blend with whatever you really value in your friends, whatever you kind of think of them holistically, the relationships you have there, how you feel about money easily flows. So it doesn't feel like you overspend with them, that kind of energy. It feels more like, okay, this is an easy flowing energy. I value and place a lot of emphasis on my money and the structures around that, and I don't overspend when I go out with friends. Something as simple as that. Pluto retrograde in Capricorn will also trine Uranus retrograde in Taurus. And so we did see this earlier in the day, but now Pluto's in a different sign. Instead of being in that liberating sign, now it's in that restrictive sign. And so any kind of structures that you're reevaluating in your personal finances here, it's going to easily blend with whatever changes are taking place in your daily routine right now. We also have Pluto retrograde, sextile Neptune retrograde. And so when you think about your personal finances and just maybe the relationship you have with money, the way that you feel about your finances, what structures exist there, it's going to create some sort of opportunity for you to have the home that you want. So if your part of your structures is, I want to save to buy a house, this would indicate, okay, let's reevaluate my plan, my strategy for saving money to be able to buy a house, because this is going to create an opportunity. And maybe in the past, you didn't have a really solid plan. This is giving you an opportunity to maybe create one that is flexible with whatever your earnings are. And so think about it that way. It's creating some sort of opportunity to have the home that you want or the home life that you want to have here. Pluto retrograde in Capricorn is going to square Chiron retrograde in Aries. And what this means is, so Chiron in Aries, when I talk about the wound that's been coming to the surface, that's something here that needs to be addressed. It's not going to be new news to you. This has been coming up over the last several months. It really kind of was front and center during the eclipse back in April. And so how you feel about money, the structures that you have in place from a savings standpoint or a spending standpoint, whatever that relationship is with the money you have, it's going to create some sort of obstacle or challenge to healing this wound that is maybe connected to children, maybe connected to your hobbies, things like that. And so it's more of, right now, the emphasis is let's focus on the structures that I have in place and not on doing anything that maybe has me spending money right now if my goal is to save. And the really significant piece here is that this energy is actually going to be with us for a little bit. When Pluto re-enters Capricorn, it's actually going to be here until November 19th when it re-enters the sign of Aquarius. So right now it's retrograde, so it's essentially moving backwards. That's going to be until October 11th before it moves direct again, and all the change happens outside of us before it moves back into Aquarius, where it's going to be for the next 20 years. So again, closing out a chapter here, absolutely coming across, and I see it in all of the tarot readings. It's coming across loud and clear. All this transformation is coming across. Then on the 2nd, we have the new moon in the sign of Virgo. So that's going to happen at 9:55 p.m. Eastern time. And so during any new moon, you've got the sun and the moon. They're at the same degree point in the sky. So the energy just completely overlaps each other. This is a lot of expressing how you feel. Everything is in alignment here. So the way that you're talking about your feelings, the way that you feel your feelings, complete alignment. For you, this is sitting in your 10th house of career and public reputation. So there's something really positive about the way that you're expressing yourself and the way that you feel about this and the way that you're expressing that. It's all in alignment here. How you feel about your career and the way you're expressing it, one and the same. The sun and moon in Virgo will square Jupiter in Gemini. And so Jupiter in Gemini for you, this is, first, Jupiter's your ruler, but it's sitting in your opposite sign of Gemini. So it's at its weakest point right now, but Jupiter is still a positive planet. It's still the most benefic planet. And so what this indicates is however you're expressing yourself at work and how you feel about your work, it is creating obstacles and challenges in your significant relationship. So if you're married, it would be your marriage partner. But really, Jupiter in Gemini is all about growth within that relationship. And so maybe now's not the right time to really explore some sort of growth, or growth in like a big way, because Jupiter is still positive here. It just might not be the expansive growth that Jupiter normally can deliver, just because it is at its fall in the sign of Gemini. So, and it's a difficult aspect here. You can work with the energy. It's going to be a little bit easier to navigate than some of the other squares that we have. The sun and moon in Virgo will also be opposite Saturn retrograde in Pisces. And so again, expressing yourself in your career, how do you feel about it? All of that. It's going to be opposite any kind of work that you're doing from a home standpoint. So Saturn retrograde in Pisces indicates that you're doing some sort of internal work as it relates to your home environment. So this could be things where you're trying to create a better home life for yourself or something along those lines. And so what you can kind of see is you've got your home life separate from your career, and maybe you're happier in your career right now and you're not really devoting the time to be able to spend working on your home environment. That would be that push-pull, that opposing energy that you can certainly find a balance. You just have to work through it. And then we have Mars enter the sign of Cancer. So that's going to happen on the 4th at 3:46 in the afternoon Eastern time. This one, it's probably not going to be the easiest to navigate. So Mars and Cancer. So Mars is the planet of action. Cancer is that deep emotional feeling. Cancer is the most emotional sign that we have in the zodiac. Mars is that planet of action. It's actually one of the malefic planets because it's kind of like, let's just do this. Let's just go. What are we waiting for? It's sitting in your 8th house of transformation. So this is death and rebirth. So if there's something here, it's going to be like an emotionally charged action that you're taking. So if there is some sort of change that you want to undergo, you're going to be acting out your feelings in a really big way to make that transition or make that transformation a reality. So you might be releasing something here And so kind of a word of caution, just make sure that this is really something that you want to let go of. Don't just have that immediate reaction. Mars in Cancer will sextile the Mercury in Leo energy. And so Mercury in Leo, so this is conversations related to your growth. So in this instance, it might be whatever you're getting rid of is making room for you to grow and expand in some sort of way. So it's an opportunity you would have to seize. This specific transit is actually a little bit better. We'll get into some of the more difficult ones coming up here in a second, but just know that like acting on your feelings, maybe think a little bit further before you take some sort of action here, because on the 4th, it gets better by the 9th, but for a couple of days there, it feels like this energy might be, everything's just going to be emotionally charged, that people might be doing a lot of actions that they wouldn't normally want to take or normally think through and take. And this is going to be one of them. So we have Mars in Cancer square the moon in Libra. Whatever you're doing here, whatever action you're taking that is emotionally charged, it's creating some sort of obstacle or challenge to feeling balanced with your friends. So there's something here. And the way I've been describing it, because this is really what it feels like, this Mars in Cancer energy, it's almost like suppressed emotions. And it gets to the point where you just have to do something. You can't sit in that energy anymore. Nothing is going to be able to keep you where you are. You have to make some sort of change here, and that's what you're going to be doing. And for you specifically, because it's in your house of change, that transformative house, that seems like what's going to be happening here. So what it's doing is it's going to make you feel unbalanced. And we'll see it again with Mars square Venus in Libra. So whatever you value about your friendships, that balance, feeling balanced among your friends, this is where it's going to create some sort of challenge. You're not going to feel that balance because you're acting in a way that does feel very volatile, very quick. And then we have Mars in Cancer square Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so these emotionally charged actions that you're taking here, it's going to create challenges to creating or kind of figuring out a way to have the home life that you're looking for. Again, these are all squares. This is not going to last for very long. We're going to actually see the energy get a little bit better by the 9th when Mercury enters Virgo. But even with the squares, you can work through the energy. Mercury enters Virgo on the 9th at 2:50 in the morning Eastern time. And so Mercury rules the sign of Virgo. Virgo is a very healing sign. So it's analytical. It's the deep thinker. It's the hermit card within tarot. And so Mercury in Virgo for you is sitting in your 10th house. So this is communication. And this Mercury in Virgo will trine Chiron in Aries. And so Virgo, you've got this healing energy related to communication, even the way that you think about things, process that information. It's going to easily blend with that wound that came to the surface related to maybe children or your hobbies, the things that you really enjoy doing when you're not working. Whatever these conversations are at work, they're going to help you take some sort of action here to heal that wound. We'll also have Mercury in Virgo sextile Mars in Cancer. And so this is where things get a little bit better from that, I almost want to say like explosive action, but we've got these work conversations, maybe some sort of healing connected to these conversations. It's going to create an opportunity for you to take different action. Still emotionally charged because Mars is in Cancer, but this is going to allow you to make a different change, take some sort of different action that is meant for your transformation. Because we're looking at 10th house, 8th house energy here, these conversations at work might create some sort of opportunity for you to make more money or do something different with the money that you're bringing in, because that 8th house is other people's money. And so this could be your spouse's income. This doesn't necessarily just have to be the money that you make. This could be related to an inheritance or anything along those lines. And so I say that because transformation is really kind of the bigger theme within that house, but it easily could be the money that you're earning from your employer because of how this is connected to your career right now. We also have Mercury in Virgo square Uranus retrograde in Taurus. And so these conversations at work, they're creating some sort of obstacle or challenge to the changes that have been happening in your home environment. It's just, they're not aligned. There's something happening here. You can find a way to work through the energy. I mean, these changes could really equate to anything. Maybe you need to spend more time at work, less time at home. That's going to have an impact on your daily life, but is that the impact that you want it to have in your daily life? And so just kind of, there could be so many different scenarios where this is going to impact you on a regular basis. But again, it's kind of a right now type of energy. It's a transit. We'll also have Mercury in Virgo square the moon in Capricorn, Scorpio. So these conversations that are happening at work, it's also creating some sort of obstacle or challenge to how you feel on the inside. That moon in Scorpio is your internal self. It's your subconscious. It's you behind the scenes, away from everybody else, kind of doing your own thing here. And so it feels a lot like different things are coming up throughout the month that you need to focus on. And right now there's something connected to your career that's coming to the surface, and it might be throwing some other things out of alignment, but it's not going to last. Then on the 17th, so this one's a big one, we actually have a partial lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces. And so this is a full moon energy. So let's talk about this for a second, because we're currently in Aries Libra eclipse season. We're actually about to transition into the Pisces Virgo eclipse season. And so Pisces would be the north node. Virgo is the south node. Virgo is very grounded and practical. And so this is where you're going to feel comfortable. Wherever Virgo falls in your chart is where you're going to feel comfortable. Pisces is going to be what you need to go after. This is the lesson that you need to learn during this transit. So just kind of keep that in mind. This is kind of a precursor to that whole eclipse season, which we're going to see in 2025. So for you, the sun, because the sun and the moon are at opposite points in the sky, the sun is sitting in your 10th house, the moon is in your 4th house. So you can already see you've got career, home life. They're directly opposite from each other. And so this impact is going to be kind of that work-life balance situation. So the way that you're expressing yourself at work, that's sun and Virgo energy, versus how you feel about your home and your home environment. And just like with any full moon, the sun and moon will have different conversations with the planets. And so the sun will trine Uranus retrograde in Taurus. So how you're expressing yourself at work, it's going to easily flow with whatever changes are taking place in your daily life. That one's positive. In fact, this full moon in Pisces, I would say mostly is positive. The moon in Pisces will sextile Uranus retrograde in Taurus, which means how you feel about your home environment is actually creating an opportunity for you to make additional changes in your daily life. Allow more obstacles to be broken down here. We'll also have the sun in Virgo trine Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. And so these conversations at work, they're easily going to blend with the changes that you're making to your personal finances. Whatever structures you have in place connected to the way that you save money, spend money, that relationship with what you value, easily flow. And the moon in Pisces will sextile Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. And so how you feel about your home and your home life is going to create some sort of opportunity here for you to, again, make some changes to the way that you save money or your relationship with money here. The next one is a little bit difficult, but it's difficult for both the sun and the moon. They're actually in a T-square with Jupiter and Gemini. So Jupiter and Gemini is sitting in your 7th house. So long-term relationship, your significant other, marriage partner. The sun in Virgo, so these conversations at work are going to create some sort of obstacle or challenge to any kind of growth that you want in that connection with that person. But so is the moon. So how you feel about your home life is also creating some sort of obstacle or challenge to expanding and growing the relationship with that person. So it's almost like the emphasis is so much on your work-life balance that anybody else kind of working on anything with anybody else just isn't, it's not for right now. It might be in the future, but it's not right now. And then we have the sun in Virgo opposite Neptune retrograde in Pisces. So whatever these conversations are at work, it is directly opposite your ideal home life. What is it that you're trying to accomplish here? What do you want? What are your dreams and goals around your home environment? Where the moon in Pisces will be conjunct Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so how you feel about your home completely aligns with how you want your home to kind of evolve and the dreams that you have and the goals that you've set for yourself related to maybe the physical structure or just how you feel in your home environment. And then on the 22nd at 8:44 in the morning, we have the sun enter the sign of Libra. And so when the sun enters the sign of Libra, I mean, this is all about balanced conversations. For you, this is sitting in your group of friends, your community, the people that you surround yourself with. So any kind of balanced conversations with friends, it's easily going to flow with how you feel around your significant other, that person, that your marriage partner, if you're married, because this will trine the moon in Gemini. So positive there. Sun in Libra will also trine Uranus retrograde in Taurus. And so these balanced conversations are going to easily flow with whatever changes are taking place in your daily life. It will also easily flow with whatever changes are happening to your relationship with money or what you value, because we have the Sun in Libra trine Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. We'll also have the Sun in Libra square Jupiter in Gemini. And so this is where these balanced conversations with your friends are just making it more difficult. These obstacles and challenges coming up to growing that relationship, your significant other, that relationship, marriage partner. We do have the Sun in Libra conjunct Mercury in Virgo. And so the balanced conversations that you're having with your friends, the community around you, completely blends with the conversations that you're having at work. And so this is really positive here because there's a lot of synergy between these two energies because they are conjunct, even though they're in different signs. And then the Sun in Libra will be opposite Neptune retrograde in Pisces, and not a surprise. I mean, we saw it when the Sun was in your 10th house. Now we see it within your 4th house where it's that opposing energy. So these balanced conversations with friends, just opposite how you feel about your home life, what kind of ideal home that you want for yourself, those goals, those dreams. It's more of like, which one's your priority? Which one do you need to focus on right now? And then the same day that the Sun enters Libra, we actually have Venus enter the sign of Scorpio. So that's going to happen at 10:36 in the evening Eastern time. And so when Venus enters Scorpio, so Venus rules relationships. It's very practical, a grounded, balanced energy. It's the ruler of both Taurus and Libra. So think of it from that lens. It's very positive there. It's also very loyal. And then you've got the sign of Scorpio. It's very passionate. And so for you, this is sitting in your 12th house. So your internal self, who you are away from the public. And so being loyal to yourself here is going to really work in your favor. What it's going to do is that significant other, your marriage partner, that significant relationship, how you feel about yourself, being loyal about yourself, it's going to easily flow with growing that relationship, with deepening the connection with that person. Venus and Scorpio will square Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. And so how you feel about yourself on the inside, being passionate and loyal to yourself, it is going to create some sort of obstacle or challenge to this relationship that you have with money, these structures that are changing as they relate to the money that you have here. And then finally, we have Mercury enter the sign of Libra. And so this is more balanced conversation. In fact, when Mercury enters Libra, the Sun just moved there. So Mercury and the Sun are in very close proximity to each other, blend of energy. So lots of balanced conversations, the way that you're expressing yourself, the way that you're processing all the information coming into you. So really positive there. We'll have Mercury in Libra trine Uranus retrograde in Taurus. And so these balanced conversations that you're having with your friends will easily flow with whatever changes are taking place in your daily life. These balanced conversations are going to also easily align themselves with whatever changes are taking place in your relationship with money, whatever that structure is, that spending savings habits, whatever it is, that relationship with money. These balanced conversations will also square Jupiter and Gemini. And so again, think of like, right now I'm having these balanced conversations with friends, and so there's not really an opportunity for me to really grow and expand that significant other relationship, that marriage partner. And then we have Mercury in Libra opposite Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so that Mercury in Libra, again, balanced conversations with friends, it is opposite your ideal home environment. And again, it's almost like, which one's the priority? You can find the happy medium. You can find time to make, both happen. You just have to find that medium. You have to work through it. So Sagittarius, this is your reading. I hope it resonates. If it did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care.